terms of, Bedard's influence on this whole thing. And I know he's 19 and I know he's struggling. I know he's frustrated. But do you get him involved in this at all? Do you pick his brain over what sort of things he might be looking for in a head coach? Or is that kind of putting him, I'm kind of two minds about it. Like, he's so important to the team. You want him to be happy. You want him to feel like he's in a good place, but you also don't want to put his needs above the needs of the rest of the team. So I'm kind of wishy-washy about it.
I think you talk to him in the sense of like, what works for you from a coaching aspect. Like what strategies, what styles do you respond to? Do you work well with? I think that's and you can, I mean, it doesn't have to be like, okay, Connor, tell us who you want. Like I don't think that's the way
Right.
it needs to go. But you can pick his brain. I think you can talk to guys like Alex Vlasic. I think you talk to guys like Frank Nazar. Um, you can talk to Teravainen, the guys that are going to be here for the next few years at least, uh, and just kind of get an idea of how the group works. And you're not going to be able to please everybody, but I think that is something that you can still get an idea of. Okay, the group collectively doesn't like a guy like XYZ, or
Mm-hmm.
the group collectively, for the most part, feels like, you know, this style works and we think this coach fits this style. Like, I think that's totally fine to do. I don't think this needs to be a situation where, you know, like in Edmonton, they got rid of uh Jay
Woodcroft, yeah.
Woodcroft, and they brought in Chris Knobloch, Connor McDavid's junior's coach. Like, I don't think it needs to be a situation like that where it's just like, okay, who coached Bedard successfully? Get him in here. Like, it doesn't need to be um, that crazy or anything like that. But I think picking the brains of the players is not a bad idea, because
Yeah.
that's who's going to have to respond to this
It's
next
also,
hire.
maybe just more philosophically, right? And I think, Kyle Davidson's a young guy. He connects well with the guys on the roster, I'd assume. I know he's significantly older than Connor Bedard, but he's 37, Kyle Davidson. So he's got a
No,
younger.
he's 35, I think. I think he's as
Okay.
old as I am.
Yeah. So
Makes me feel
youngish.
bad. Yeah. Thanks.
So but what the point being that he's not some old curmudgeon, old crusty
He's
GM.
not Lou Lamoriello.
Right. So I think being open-minded towards what the players might prefer in terms of not being treated, but what sort of info do you need from your coach? What sort of things can the coach do to help you feel better? And look, these are probably questions asked at the end of every season when they have exit interviews. It's
Oh,
our
sure.
favorite day of the year when everyone says how horrible everything was. Um, you know, those questions are surely asked, but I think with this hire, it is so important to get it right. They've got to just talk to as many people as they can about it. And I know you don't want to have, um, paralysis by analysis, as Doug Buffone used to call it, but you can't have too big of a nut on this one for me. You've got to get it
No.
right. You've got to feel confident. You've got to know that your guys that are going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years are on board
Yeah.
and not annoyed and frustrated by it.
Yeah. I think if, we talk a lot about, oh, there's this changing of, mindset and how players react and think, and what works for them, this being able to connect with, the modern player or whatever. I think that there is some importance to that, because if you have a group that says, you know, I prefer a coach that is more, analytical, a coach that is, a good communicator, over communicator, things like that. If they're basically saying like, I'm not going to respond well to John Tortorella screaming in my ear, and then they go and get John Tortorella,
Yeah.
and then he's screaming in the players' ears, and then the players are like, screw this guy. Well, then, yeah, I think that would be a situation where you're like, well, duh. If you knew the players weren't going to respond to him, why would you bring somebody in like that? So I think you have to have the input of the players, to a degree, because if you just go out and just say, oh, we're just going to get this guy and it doesn't work, then you're right back to square one, and you're going to hire your third coach. Like, that's not a position any GM wants to be in or should be in, and no successful organization operates that way.
And look, if this coach doesn't work, you want to talk about the seat heating up?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you might not give him another coach hire.
Absolutely.
And maybe if you still really believe in your rebuild and you really believe in what you're doing, you make Mark Eaton the GM, or you promote Norm McIver, or you promote Brian Campbell if you want to keep the continuity going with a mindset towards drafting and development. But if Davidson's not getting the NHL job done, meaning coach, free agents, trades,
right,
of substance, and he has made, let's be honest, he's made some trades of substance, getting Spencer Knight for Seth Jones, getting Joe Veleno for Peter Mrazek, Dickinson, Mikheyev, on and on and on.
Yeah.
But getting that stud and getting the right head coach, if he proves to be incapable of that, then the seat's hot. Really hot. Because I don't think they're going to tolerate another year that feels like this.
We all silly like the mayor.